When you're talking about the Eldrazi, you're talking about something big, bad, and bold, and really it shouldn't be able to be stopped. And now we've got Commander Masters Eldrazi Unbound. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Eldrazi deck cards they've given us that are new and make sure these cards actually stand up to what we were hoping for. Could this possibly be the only Commander deck worth buying from Commander Masters? Stick around, let's find out together. Wizards of the Coast may have been saving the best for last when we're talking about Eldrazi Unbound Commander Masters Commander deck. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And it looks like this deck's pretty good. I mean, we have a lot to go through in today's video. Thanks again for tuning in. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed today's content, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, turn on your notification bells as I upload daily content each and every day. And for every new subscriber, it brings us that much closer to the 20K party. That's right. When we get to 20,000 subscribers, we're going to have a party together here on the channel. And of course, you're all invited. Now, the Eldrazi Unbound. This is one of the decks I was looking forward to, as we know with the Sliver decks. And it looks like they saved the best for last. These cards, to me, they seem like Eldrazi. They seem like they fit here. They seem just awesome. And the rest of the deck actually seems fairly playable because the Eldrazi are colorless. So the cards they fit into this deck actually seem to make sense to me. And that just blows my mind. It just looks like there's a diamond in the rough, not from Aladdin the cartoon, but a little bit of like a diamond in the rough, like, wow, this is not going to be that bad. You could buy this deck, fidget with a few pieces, find some different Eldrazi, and really make this work. My one kind of disappointment so far is Kozilek the Great Distortion is also in Commander Masters, like, as a card, right? So you're like, oh, and he's already in the Commander deck? I'll just save myself like 13 bucks and buy it right away in the Commander deck. I think this Commander deck is going to sell a lot of copies because a lot of people have not seen the Eldrazi for a while, and the idea that you get to buy this Commander deck and build Eldrazi with it may even boost up the price of other Eldrazi cards as a secondary kind of side fact, right? If there's other Eldrazi cards the Wizards hasn't capitalized on yet, this will cause the secondary market to react as those cards get bought and integrated into these decks, and it gives them some reprint equity later. It's something to keep in mind, though. Might want to buy the cards now before they spike if you're thinking of any Eldrazi cards that you don't own yet and you're thinking of buying this deck. So let's take a look at some of these cards together. Let's slam these bad boys down today. So our first card today is Calamity of the Titans. Now remember, everything today is colorless, which is kind of awesome. So 2 colorless waste plus 4 generic. It's a sorcery, and as an additional cost to this spell, reveal a colorless creature card from your hand. And there's quite a few options, by the way, for colorless creatures. Exile each creature in Planeswalker with mana value less than the revealed card's mana cost. Pretty awesome. If this thing is only filled with giant Titan-like creatures that are massive world-stopping things and have casting costs of like 10, 11, 12, you're going to board wipe. This is awesome. Now, I can't pronounce that name, but Ghostfire Initiate. Obviously, it's kind of cool, but or Mathias. You guys, Artheus. I don't know. My pronunciation's horrible. Legendary creature, Spirit Naga, 0/0. Ghostfire Initiate enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, so it's double X to cast. So if you spend 4, it's a 2/2. If you spend 8, it's a 4/4. All right. Whenever you put one or more +1/+1 counters on another colorless creature you control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on the Initiate. That's kind of cool. When the Initiate dies, manifest a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of counters on it. Now, for those who don't remember Manifest, it's taking the top card of your library, putting it onto the battlefield as a generic 2/2 colorless creature, if I remember that correctly. Now, Obstruse the Archaic. This thing is a 3/4 for 4, and by the way, I love that artwork. The artwork, when I look at this stuff, it just reminds me of Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that, guys. It has that kind of remnant. Whenever I see the Eldrazi with the tentacles and stuff, Call of Cthulhu comes right to mind. If you don't know those books, you should check that stuff out. It's a creature avatar with vigilance. Pay 1, tap it, copy target, activated or triggered ability you control from a colorless source. You may choose new targets for the copy. Keep this card in mind because things get a little crazier. Now, our next set here is Rise of the Eldrazi. It is 9 plus 3 waste mana. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target permanent. Target player draws 4 cards. Take an extra turn after this one. Exile Rise of the Eldrazi. This is kind of like when they had Emrakul coming. The original Emrakul was like, comes into play, Annihilator 6. You get to take an extra turn, basically you win the game. It's an amazing card. Now, the second card I like too. I'm not as fond of the artwork. I think they could have jazzed it up a bit. But Ugin's Mastery. 4 generic for an enchantment. Colorless enchantment. Whenever you cast a colorless creature spell, manifest the top card of your library, which again puts that 2/2 creature into play. Skittering Cicada is 3 casting costs for 2/2 with flash. You may cast colorless spells You may cast colorless spells as though they had flash. That's right. I'm learning to speak for the first time and you're all invited. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, until end of turn, Skittering Cicada gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the spell's mana value. This is a really decent card. These cards just seem to actually have a little bit of synergy. Maybe it's just my head. Maybe I'm in a good mood, but it seems to fit for me. Maybe it's just because of the Eldrazi. I don't know. Now let's take a look at the last set of cards that are new. Flare of Loyalties. This just seems like an Eldrazi. Doesn't it seem like an Eldrazi to you? All right. 2 waste, 8 generic, summon creature Eldrazi, 10/10. When you cast this spell, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. Until end of turn, it has a base power and toughness of 10/10, gains trample, Annihilator 2, and haste. That's right. This card actually has Annihilator, and that makes me smile. Okay? Whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 2 permanents. Not when it deals damage, when it attacks. That's why Annihilator is just so world-endingly scary. The idea that, these things would come at you and things are being devoured around you and disappearing from existence. Amazing. Desecrate Reality. And actually, I really like this art too. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Marvel Comics though when I think of the Celestials. 7 generic, it's an instant. For each opponent, exile up to 1 target permanent that player controls with an even mana value. And that's the, 0 is even. Adamant. If at least 3 colorless mana was spent to cast the spell, return a permanent card with an odd mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. So think of the odd casting cost, amazing Eldrazi, and you get to bring that back. That's epic. And Dark Steel Monolith. And I like the idea of Dark Steel. Cool. All right, it's 8 casting cost artifact with indestructible. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay mana for a colorless spell you cast from your hand. Oh, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This deck makes sense to me. I like the cards. It's it's got Burnished Heart. It's got some of the generic colorless things you expect to see. Yes, you're gonna have to tweak it. Yes, you're gonna have to fix a few things. But those cards with a few additional Eldrazi that aren't banned, like Emrakul, are really going to fit well. This deck seems playable. It has the power plants and stuff. We got Urza lands. We have so much we can fit with this, that this actually makes sense to me. And that it fills out the day a little bit today. When I looked at this and I saw the cards and I said, I'm going to look forward to making this video. I can endorse, and I'm glad that I ordered this particular deck. It just fits well. And when a deck fits well like this, and it doesn't need a lot of alteration to make it playable out of the box because it's all colorless, players are going to appreciate that. New players coming into the game could crack this open, not have to tweak it if they don't want to, and it will play. And the potential for the deck to win may not be as great as other higher powered decks with a lot of expensive cards, but it has a chance. And I like that. I like the idea that this thing could roll over opponent after opponent after opponent. If it gets itself going, it just brings around good memories for me. I'm going to give this deck a solid B+. No, it's not an A or A+ for me. There's still some cards they could have added, and there's the potential to tweak the deck to make it more powerful, sure. But this is a deck you could play coming out of the box that's going to appeal to players. New players starting the game, seeing this out of the box and understanding the mechanics involved, are going to be able to play this, enjoy it, and actually have a good time. And yeah, it's probably overpriced a bit. The price tag is probably still about 20% higher than it should be, but I think a lot of players will be willing to swallow that pill they'll be willing to take the plunge with their wallet and buy that particular deck. Now, do I still think this will be discounted a year from now? I do. If you're willing to wait for this deck, it will go on sale. They reprint Commander decks over and over. There will be an abundance, and this one, since it's popular, will get reprinted just like the other ones. Players will tear these apart. Players will sell the singles, and the market will have a big glut of these things out there eventually. So if you're willing to wait long enough, you're going to save a lot of cash. But if you had to buy it now just to crack it and play, I don't think you're going to have a lot of regret doing something like that. A few extra bucks means a little bit of extra fun, a little bit faster. Players can mostly take that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'd like to see your comments in the comments section. How do you feel about this particular deck? Did you enjoy looking over the cards? Did you feel it synergized fairly well like I did? Or do you think I've got the wrong opinion on this one? You guys share those thoughts with me. Looking forward to reading the comments in the comments section. Thanks for hanging out today, and don't forget, always bring a friend to Magic. It's a great game. And of course, a big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic people on the channel who support me each and every day. These are the patrons, guys. Those supporters help finance this channel and make daily uploaded content possible. And of course, my YouTube membership members, you guys are amazing.